Hi, Chris.
Hey, Noel, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
So good. So
Yeah,
good to see you. I'm excellent. Thank you. I am
great.
excellent.
All right. So I need to introduce you before we get going because we can talk for the best of them in the most random directions. So we're gonna start with the pieces that everybody needs to know first. Okay. So my first
Perfect.
question, first of all, everybody, this is Chris Barber. Chris Barber is, well, Chris, why don't you tell him? Tell him who you are, what you do.
Oh, um, at this very minute, am a hairdresser and a transformational life coach.
All right.
And the interesting thing is I've been hairdressing for 39 years, but it wasn't till I got substance and addiction out of my life that I really realized what I absolutely love about hairdressing, and that is connecting with people. So in essence, I have been coaching for a long time, just without any particular plan or outcome in mind, other than making people feel better.
That's really funny that you brought that up because I was thinking that this a lot to me is conversations like I have with people when they're on my table. And I think what's kind of interesting is that you have, I have table talk, but you have chair talk, right?
Uh-huh. Chairapy.
Hairapy. That's great. Well, everyone, so let me tell you right now, the conversation with Nanai went so well, and everybody was looking at I think everybody's looking at different parts of their life right now, and they're looking at where they can see a new perspective or invite change or focus on positive things. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to Chris today, in all reality, he is my hairstylist, and this thing, sorry Chris that I gave it away, but it's getting so long.
It's quarantine.
This is quarantine hair. This is not a mark of what he does. I mean, he does, it's only as good as it is right now because of what he does. Okay. Yes. The fact that you have taken something that you've done for so long, but also looked at people and said, what do I really like about the human condition, and how do I want to move forward with this, and decided to, even before this happened, to go to some school and some formal training and move this direction, just shows that it's never too late in life, and it's never a space where you are stuck or pinholed in what you do because you've done it for so long. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have Chris on, everybody, is I wanted to show everybody that even if in, let's say, movement, you've been doing the same thing, I'll have people be like, well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can't move differently, right? Because I've been walking this way for the last 40 years, or I've been doing this or sleeping that way. Change is available to you all the time. And so, Chris, tell me a little bit about your change. What made you go, other than being a big therapist already, what made you go the one next step? Like, give me a little bit about your journey.
So the first catalyst was quitting drinking and hearing a voice say to me, maybe you don't need to do that anymore. And at that time, on that particular day, I heard it to be alcohol. And I remember laughing, thinking, yeah, right, because it was that much a part or a groove that I had been in for a long time of self-comforting. And but I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe I could. And I just looked out a couple of days and then just took another step and took another step. And pretty soon it was a weekend, and then it was a week, 2 weeks. And then it was more about getting comfortable. I'm sorry about sirens in the background right now.
It's really, that's not that bad.
Okay, good. It was more about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And when you are comfortable, you're not growing. When you are uncomfortable, you are on that green growing edge of what's next. Now what? So fast forward about a year, and I'm in the salon, and one of my dear friends, and she's also a client of mine, was telling me about a friend of hers experience at a conference that she went to. And she came back and her friend was telling her all this about it. And she was super excited. And she said, although while I was happy for my friend, I heard this voice telling me that I need to tell you this. And so when she first told me about it, I said, so is this like a life coach? And she said, yes. And up until that point, the only person that I'd ever known that was a life coach was kind of a charlatan and had taken advantage of some very dear friends of mine. So it didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. And I went back to my other client, and I was working with them, and it was like, well, maybe this is something. Well, this is shiny. It was just a little bit shinier than completely dismissed. For some reason, it was still on the table in my awareness. And I thought, okay, well, if this is supposed to be, send me a sign. And I just kept getting validation. And then I went to Life Mastery Institute, and I called, had a conversation with an enrollment specialist, and she took me through an exercise to really get clear on what it is I was doing, because they don't take everybody just because you can pay tuition. That isn't how they roll. And took me through an exercise to really reveal that I am heart-centered in what I do. And it's not about what it is that is a business. It's not about what it is that creates finance. It's about what it is that resonates here with me, that I know also can spark that same level of creative energy within somebody else for their own life.
That's really powerful. That's beautiful. So I know that we talk a lot about various things, but part of what I noticed from a friend perspective is that you had quite the spiritual development at the same time as moving into these pieces. Were you always a very spiritual person, or what's kind of gone on with that development?
I've always been very aware that there is something greater than me. I grew up Catholic and also gay. So the God of my knowing and the system of belief of my knowing growing up, gay did not fit into that. And that was the only connection really I'd had to it. So there was still this awareness that there is something greater than me, because there's something pulling me to the next thing. And then I got, my husband and I started to go to a spiritual center, Center for Spiritual Living. And that is the perfect blend of art, Christianity, and science together. And for me, I like things to make sense. And it resonated with me deeply.
So how much of that carries into what you see as your coaching? And how does that all come about? What does that look like when you're coaching?
Well, when I'm coaching with a client, there's 5. When I'm coaching with a client, first of all, I help someone create a vision for a life that they love living. And within that, and the way that happens is I take you on a guided meditation, and you picture yourself 3 years out. And what would you love? What would I love in my life? Not figuring out the how, because the how is going to try to keep you in the same comfort zone that you're in right now. Just visioning what you would love for your life. And when we think about things, we think in pictures. Like if I were to ask you about your bathroom sink, you wouldn't be thinking SINK. You would picture your actual sink. You would picture the surrounding of it. You would picture like a light in it.
Or the stuff left on
it.
The stuff left on it.
Or the stuff left on it. But in doing so, that creates a vision for you, a picture in your mind. So when you're creating a vision, you connect with something that gives you excitement, expansive, and you can tell if something is expansive or contracting with the mind-body connection. Like, for instance, if I told you, if you think, oh my gosh, I've lost my wallet, there's a tightness, a panic that comes over you. And then when you think, oh, wait a minute, now I know where it is, there's a relaxation. That's a physical response to a mental thought. The same thing happens in creating a vision for a life you love living. You can tell if something is giving you more energy, and then I could do this, and then this could happen, and then this could happen. Or, for instance, I want money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that doesn't have very much energy to it. But I want money so I can do, so I can have, so I can be, so I can give. That has expansion to it.
Mm.
So when you create a vision like that in 4 areas of your life, which are health and well-being, time and money freedom, vocation, and relationship, and we're all creating results in those areas every day just because we woke up. It's whether you are doing it by default or by design.
Mm. Yeah, that's beautiful. You know what? What's interesting is that movement's very much similar. Because the human movement cycle has also, when let's say somebody needs to go work out, but they hate working out, that resonance of, well, then find something that you love, go play a game, start thinking about things that you like until you're like, ooh, that does sound fun. If one thing doesn't do it for you, do another. It's about moving and playing in your body. It's not necessarily about having to stay in these strict rules and guidelines. So it's very similar. So yeah,
there's some similarness. One thing that is key is and I know this from working out with you, is the feeling that I have afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling is what, when you're thinking about your vision, that feeling of satisfaction, of love, of warmth, of generosity, whatever that is for you, that's the connecting. That's what's going to pull you, to get you up off the couch to go do something. That's what's going to make you go that extra mile. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or even go through the uncomfortable to get to the achievable.
Exactly.
Right.
Because I mean, face it, if it was that easy, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation.
That is very true. That is very true. You just brought like a really good point to it, which is sometimes you have to go do the hard thing. But yes, keep your focus on what's ahead of you or what you are resonating with, that it will give you, I guess.
We at Brave Thinking Institute like to refer to it as coming from your vision. You can't go to your vision, but you can come from it. So what that means is, what in your vision do you absolutely love? Now, mind you, this is far out in the distance. And the part that people don't realize is that far out in the distance keeps moving because time keeps moving. So you're really creating a living document that will feel, this parts of it will feel good right now, and then you might want to make changes to it. But coming from that picture of what you ultimately want, and then what can I do right now with what I have from where I am to serve that?
And just like putting one step in front of the next.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great.
Because you can't get from here to here.
Right.
You just can't.
So I'm guessing, just like when I have people that can't see how they can get to their physical goal and we have to kind of map it for them, I'm guessing you have the great strategic map, in a sense, of how to get them a map to where they're going, or at least a small template, or how do you talk about that?
Well, so first, after creating a vision, that is your actual roadmap, and how you're going to get there. We work together. If I'm lucky enough to work with clients, I work with them for 3 months, and every week we go over different things. We spend, one big thing is forgiveness, and that's like smack dab in the middle of this training program, and it covers 2 weeks because it is such a huge thing that a lot of people have resentment and stuck energy in a certain place, and that they don't realize it, but that's kind of what's holding them back from moving forward. And I love how it's placed in the 3-month program, because I know when I was going through this program at the very beginning, looking out here at a vision that I've created, I'm all gung-ho, ready to go. And then you start off that direction, and then all of a sudden it's like being out in the middle of a stream or a river, and you can't touch the bottom anymore. And that's when change really starts to happen, because now all of a sudden there's currents that you're fighting, there's rough waters, there's all this stuff, and the pull to the familiar is most strong right then. Because those grooves of that familiar are very deep.
Yes, right. The habits.
Autopilot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and it's almost like a fear has a funny way of, even though you see something not serving you, going back to it anyway, because at least you know that evil, right?
You're very comfortable with that pain.
Yes, right. I see people in pain all the time. They'll have back pain, and they're going through shift and change when I'm giving them their program, and then they're sensing new things in their body, and they get pain, and the first thing to do is go to their old habits of a stretch that really won't help them, or an exercise that really won't help them. And that's literally what they'll say to me. They'll say, but at least I know that pain, I can't take any more other pain. And so we have to kind of like work through it and talk to them about why it's happening, where it is. That's how the empowerment comes from making decisions from a deeper place.
Exactly. And your mind is so powerful. Your mind is so powerful. Visualization and seeing. As you were talking about that, I was imagining like a stuck knot somewhere, and rather than your natural physical reaction is to try to get away from something like that. But if you can center yourself and through breathing, get present in your body and visualize that pain, and maybe even try to, as you shed light on something's going to happen. It's going to move, it's going to dissipate, it's going to change. Somehow it's going to change. Energy goes where attention goes.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. That's true. And it's funny. Like, for example, if we want somebody to activate their glutes and they're mentally not there, they're activating something else, we'll have them touch their glute and go into that activation, because wherever the energy, like you said, wherever you touch is where you'll focus. But not only that, when people have back pain, I'll tell them, stop rubbing your back, because you're just associating with what you're rubbing. Whereas if you want something else to activate that will help you, touch what you want to happen, not what you don't want to happen.
Yes.
It sounds like coaching is, behaviors is very much the same.
It is, and it's human behavior. It is human behavior. There is and we're here to help. Because we're human. It's not about where we live, what we drive, how much we make. It has nothing to do with that. When you strip all of that away, and if you look at the current conditions right now, a lot of that is just getting stripped away. And we're at the core of our being, we're humans. We are light beings having a human experience. I call this a human suit.
Yeah, I do too. I call it the meat suit.
I love that.
I'm like, we want your meat suit that you have to currently reside in to function as best as it can.
Exactly. Because like, I weigh 223 pounds right now. And God forbid, if I were to expire right now, I would still weigh 223 pounds. But all of this energy and life that you see, I feel has to go somewhere.
Yeah. Well, physics or science, it can neither be created nor destroyed. So there is a scientific pull in that one. What do you think right now, when you just mentioned a second ago about the current times? Because a lot of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I've shifted my business. But then as I've been shifting my business, I've been noticing it's a bigger picture. There's bigger problems. There's bigger obstacles, people getting in their own way, not being able to see a light even in the darkness. What do you feel like at this time is one of the biggest obstacles that people can look at their life and start looking at or overcoming?
Getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And what is exactly making you uncomfortable? And what is that really? Is it the fear that you're not going to have something, the fear that you're not going to ever be able to recreate this again. What exactly is
Mm-hmm. Well, because our lives, right, are constant consuming of stuff. You know,
yeah,
if I could watch enough TV and watch enough Instagram stars and do this and do that and do this and that, and my mind is occupied, then I don't have to think about me and the things that I'm
right,
not doing and the things that I'm not accomplishing and the things that I'm like even betraying myself on. Like I set a goal and then daily don't hit that goal, and it's just a constant, you're letting yourself down. But until you look at yourself in a bigger picture, you can't see that, you know, it's okay. That's holding ourselves accountable is, it is okay. It's okay to be uncomfortable and say, you know what, I
yeah,
really didn't like that, because then tomorrow your choice might be to do that, right? Do the right thing.
yes, yes. And why we as humans place so much importance on anything other than ourselves.
Mm. But at the same
I
time,
mean,
aren't
you
we
should put yourself
selfish?
in, but it's so Marianne Williamson, who is one of my mentors as well, teaches from A Course in Miracles, and it says that everything is love or a cry for love, and some people are just really unskilled at asking. So when someone's being selfish, they're coming from a place of lack. So I'm talking about self love, doing things for yourself because you already know there is an infinite flow. Not that you have to take something from somebody else to make yourself feel better.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't they
Does
say
that
that
make sense?
like the biggest, the noble senses out there, love, peace, I can't even think of the other, but
Joy,
joy,
kindness.
that you can never have too much and that you can never give too much away, because the more you give away, the more you'll get. Like there's
Yeah,
certain aspects to life that are always increasing when you're utilizing them, where other ones are tearing you down.
it's the flow of abundance. It
Mm.
really is the flow of abundance. If nothing, for instance, if you have something that's jamming up a flow of water, it's going to build up. You've got to remove some of that stuff that is in your home, in your closet, in your life, on your desktop, anything, to
Yes.
create room to see clearly. So for me, my husband loves clutter, and he likes to make little piles of things and put them somewhere. And I reach a point where I can't breathe. It takes away I feel life or a space in physical space in my body. So I'll do something about it. I'll move it around.
Mm-hmm.
Just to create some movement for me. Um, Not his stuff, because believe it or not, there's a divine order in that too, and a process going on.
Yes, yes. And part of the struggle in the human condition is relationships with other people,
Yeah,
right? And in relationships, there's a whole different dynamic, shall we
it's
say.
yeah, it's dancing. You're dancing with somebody,
Mm,
and I've always said it's like 70-30, 70-30, 70-30, 70-30, because you're not always giving. It's not 50-50. It really, really is. As much as we would love to make things fair and square, right down the middle, it never is that way. Because sometimes
and
you're going to need more than 50.
yes, I agree,
Yeah.
absolutely. What when you start seeing somebody, so like this is going to go out and a bunch of my clients and people who are following me and friends of mine are going to watch, and they're, you know, like, what are some simple first steps that somebody can take to start somewhat putting their life in order or getting some sort of thought process down? You know, a lot of times they could get this thought process down and they could say, all right, now I see where I'm stuck. You know, like I tell people all the time, you could always start by rolling your calves and quads, and then we can find the little piece that's in there. But calves and quads at this point will never be bad for you.
Yeah.
Just go and do your calves and quads. and then ab exercise. But like, what is a simple, people could take it away, they could let them inspire them to change? What's a little juicy piece you have for them?
I consider myself a heart-centered transformational life coach. And why I say heart-centered is because this whole program that I coach through is all about what would I love. And if you ask yourself, what would I love? If you really just get quiet with yourself and ask, what would I love? And make room in that quiet, information is going to come to you, because energy is constantly moving. Energy is constantly moving. And it's like electricity in the wall. Electricity doesn't stop flowing just because you're not plugged into it. It's continually flowing, just waiting for you to do something with it. And then your sense of deserving. I think a lot of people have a really hard time feeling worthy.
But that conversation could look very different to many people. That you could be having a worthiness conversation, but it can be played out in so many dimensions.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of almost like, forgive me here, but like you're gonna Marie Kondo your life. This little piece right here, does it bring me joy?
Yeah. Well, exactly. And then, but then am I willing to, on the really big thing is, am I willing to do something about it?
There you go.
Am I willing to do something about it? How bad? It's like the pain that you talk about, with your clients, how bad is it? Because it's maybe at a 4 right now. You come back in 2 years, it may be more like a 7.5.
Yeah. And do you want to start chipping away at it now before it actually tears an ACL? Or do you, right? Yeah. Or do you want to, linger on it because it's okay until it just,
you're comfortable with it. You're comfortable with it. You've learned how to adjust your movement for it. And it's just the same way with what you really love for your life. Things you really want, but you don't feel like they could be, because society doesn't think you're supposed to have that sort of thing. Maybe it was the way you were raised, that your family doesn't do that, or it's against, you're gonna lose your friends, or I'm gonna end a 30-year career to make a giant shift. Oh my God. But if you're serving something you love, life is short. Life is really, really short. And I've coached people that have been like, oh, well, I'm just looking to retirement. I've got just this little bit more to go before retirement. Well, what if you don't get there? Just because you're moving forward towards retirement doesn't mean that you don't have a vision for your life of something you would love right now, love to create for your life. And there's something within that vision that you can do towards that right now, because it's a process. It's not like you're going to be retired February 28th or February 27th, and then March 1st, your new life starts like that. No.
Yeah.
Life is going to happen, and it's up to you to either live by design or by default.
Ooh, that's catchy. That's beautiful. I mean, I think like you were bringing up a bunch of stuff, even mentally, internally, I was thinking about how I have been telling people for a couple of years now, I'm going to get more presence online. I'm going to get more presence online. I want to help people in a bigger way. I want to teach people more about movement, not just give them exercises, but teach them about movement. And I've gotten a ton of encouragement. I've gotten a ton of encouragement from the people that I have that are influencers, that have hundreds of thousands of, viewers and that type of thing. And they're like, get out there, do it. They've even taken videos of me and put it on their channel. And I just kept holding back and holding back and holding back and holding back. And then all of a sudden, snap, here we are, and I'm making the decision to step forward into that space, which is incredibly uncomfortable in a lot of ways,
It is.
But it's been incredibly fulfilling. And I think your message is so important, because how do you take the next step? How do you reconcile, like me, like having a same business for over 15 years? It is completely different. It will always be different at this point. I could have people that tell me that I'm too hefty to be on TV and all these other different things. So those are some of the things that are
That's
holding me back, Chris. My
no,
body image is part of the stuff that was holding me back. And
yeah. Well,
you know,
these
how
are
do you
gifts, you know. These are gifts, you know, because not everybody is your audience.
It's true.
So you really, I mean, I'm telling you that I'm a coach to help you create a life that you love living. So you would really only want people in your life, your relationships with, to be with people that are like you, or think like you, or are willing to do the work like you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. I think that's
Yeah.
because there's so many there. It's interesting that you said that because I've recently been going through a lot of transformational thought processes myself, a lot of spiritually based stuff, but you know, I believe everybody's path is their own. And
True.
I really feel like there's this thing that I hit where it's like, no, you don't want, you know, you don't want everybody. You want people who want to hear you. You want to hear people that resonate with you. You know, I've been, right? My business has been functioning at 100% referral basis, which means people are being drawn here and they're already in this realm of people knowing kind of what they're going to get into.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
and it doesn't have to be any different just because it's a bigger platform.
There's it just popped into my mind right then, to reinvent the wheel. You know, that would be so much energy and effort to try to cast a net that is that big to bring everybody along with you. Oprah Winfrey, when asked why she wouldn't run for president, or if she would run for president, said, "Oh, you know, I have no desire to do that. I feel like I'm much more effective from where I am now." And the interviewer said, "Well, if you could sit down with our current president and have a conversation with him, and what would you tell him, or what would you say to him?" And she said, "You know, I only speak where I can be heard." And I thought that was so powerful.
Ooh, you just give me chills.
You know, we love Oprah. Ooh.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I missed her. I heard this running joke that the world started falling apart with all the racial disparities and all this stuff, like when Oprah went off in the air. Like when she was on the air, we were doing like Wayne Dyer books and all these different things, and like having like the meditations and whatever, and she went off the air and it was like the whole world went, you know.
She's like, I've given you tools over however long her show was on the air. It was like 15 years, something like that.
Oh,
And
I
she
think it was
gave
longer.
everybody, it might even be 20, but she gave tools.
Yeah.
Tools for people to use, not just keep coming here for for all of your information right here. Pick up these tools, take in what you can take in, and utilize that in your life.
Yes.
Because your life is like nobody else's. Everyone is each individually different, our own trajectory of life, of energy.
Yes. And along with that, I think one of the things that I got personally more comfortable with is the concept of vulnerability. I think feeling,
you know,
what's that?
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I mean, even talking to you in front of however knows how many people are going to be here, but knowing that, you know, I'm talking about having self-confidence issues in some ways and body confidence issues in other ways. And, you know, like it's easy to stay in my little box because the little box was kind of functioning, but it's not exactly what I wanted. It wasn't painful enough to change. Right.
Right. Yet.
But it wasn't, but it was just kind of chugging along. And I think that's a big part of like how many people out there are like that, and how useful would someone like you be for them?
Light workers. We are light workers.
Light workers, yes.
We are bringers of the light.
That is awesome. Do you, how how do people become a client of yours? Like, how does that whole thing work?
Well, I do a vision workshop, which was on the second Saturday of every month at an office in North Park, San Diego, California. But as of right now, excuse me, since we are all socially quarantined, I am getting up to speed to do a vision workshop online through Zoom. So you can go to my website, chrisbarbercoaching.com, and send me an email saying I'm in or I'm interested, and I'm gathering an interest list, and I'll send you an invitation to a Zoom presentation. And we'll go through an hour presentation, and after that, I would invite you to, which is free, by the way, and then I would invite you to a 1 hour strategy session or discovery session with me, which is also free of charge. One of the things that I love about this is I give you the gift of time to think about yourself, to think about what you really want, deeper than on the surface. And then the discovery session, which is also free, really takes that one step further, and it allows you to go a little deeper, especially one-on-one. And then if we're a match, if it's something that you really want to move towards, then we can talk about coaching. But if not, I've already given you the window, a crack for some light to come in to what you really would like for your life. That's only because it's resonated within you. I help you connect with stuff that's already within you. I'm not bringing anything to you. I'm just waking some stuff up. Whether you act on it, that's up to you. And anytime, you go do something that's fun and exciting and stirs up some energy within you, it'll last for a little while, and then you really fall right back into your normal patterns again.
Oh, wow. Yes. Because again, you have to make it a new habit, right?
Right.
Change.
Yeah, you have to
settle in.
Yeah. And how important is it? So something has to go. Is it going to be your TV time watching Real Housewives? What's it going to be?
Yes.
Something.
Yes.
Right.
And I did same thing. Give people their program, and like, what are you going to do? Well, you can go ahead and roll on the floor while you're watching Housewives.
Be mindful of your neck position.
Yeah. Right. Get the setup right. Yeah.
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 Yes,
I have to say though, one of the most impressive things about you, Chris, is that I've been kind of been coached by you for years. Like, I know how powerful you are because of, and how intensely well you listen, and you've always been able to bring out that next step and that next thing. You've been just so amazing at that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You didn't even need a training to do that. You did it already.
That's what we're here for. There's an expression that came from, maybe it was Rumi, and it says that we are all here to hold each other's hand on the way home. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
That is awesome. That's beautiful. Yeah, but you are amazing, and it's like I'd leave and I have like the most amazing hair, and I'd feel great about myself on the outside, and I'd feel like really like inspired and enlightened. Like, there are times where I'm just like, I don't know, this is so frustrating, I don't even know what to do with it. And you have this way of bringing light to a situation, and love, and saying, you don't need to moire down there, because moiring down there is not going to get you anywhere, right? And a
little humor. Humor really helps. Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, you have a lot of that.
Yes.
little bit less now that you're not partying anymore. But.
I know. Yeah. Now that I'm in my skin 24/7, it's, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to be sober right now. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
That's
to be
awesome.
fully present for all of this. Absolutely. To not feel the need to numb or escape or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yesterday I did I listened to this inspirational service via YouTube, being it was Easter and all and whatever, and I've been doing more meditation through this time than I've done in a long time. It's always been on my list to get more in and more in, but you know, and one of the things I'm really grateful for in the meditation aspect is now I'm not afraid to be in silence or alone. And I was, you know, like you were just talking about also being present and sober, but like I'm not crawling out of my skin to leave my house right now. I mean, it helps that I have a beautiful family and I have a gym right here on the property. So I I don't have to, but I am not crawling out of my, you know, world. In fact, the inspirational talk, one of the things he said is, use this time while we are being in a place of distancing ourselves from others, use this as time to close the gap with our spiritual consciousness.
Yes. Yeah. Which is within you, which is within each of us. Each of us.
Do you meditate, Chris?
I do. That is, and it's just part of being quiet. Just giving time is the most precious thing we all say that we don't have enough of. And why not give a little bit of time to yourself, to your life, your precious life, your one life?
Yes.
Just a little bit of time. I find mine works best in the morning.
Yes.
Gratitude journal, wake up, gratitude journal, meditate, and then read for a little bit. Because if I don't do that first, before the rest of the day gets started, it's like a momentum for me. The whole day becomes like this, and it's really hard to stop that.
Yeah.
And block, you know, okay, well, I'm going to meditate from 11 to 11:30. It's really hard to stop that momentum.
Yeah. Well, okay, you brought me to one of my final questions that I
very good.
was thinking of is, what, Sir Chris, do you read? You said that you read every day, and I was actually going to ask you to give people recommendations of your 3 favorite books that you would say yes.
Untethered Soul, number 1.
By who?
Michael Singer. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing book.
All right.
And then Michael Singer's, I can't remember the name of it. The one on my nightstand right now is called Stillness. And that is a wonderful book as well. And oh my gosh, I can see the cover of it. I would have to go get it. It's Real Love. Thank you. Real Love.
And who writes that? Who wrote the
I don't remember the name.
All right.
But Stillness. Real Love.
Yes.
And Untethered Soul.
Oh, that's amazing. And you're currently reading Real Love.
Stillness.
All right.
Stillness, yes.
So do you use those for like fodder of your thoughts of the day, or you use that as a time to consume new information and kind of ruminate on like what?
New information. The thought for the day comes from a meditation. And I'll either get like a word or a line or a thought of something. And up until now, I would go online and search for an image to go with that thought, an image that I felt connected that thought with a picture, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, they say.
Yeah.
And then create a teaching around that.
Oh, that's
and then an invitation to a call to action, and then my information below that every day. But I really need to get video in there to speak face to face.
Yes.
Words out of my mouth rather than, reading it.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing in this time of being in this time of development, continuing education and getting more comfortable with being on camera and being out there to talking to whoever's beyond this screen.
Yeah.
Out there. Yeah.
Well,
and being okay with that. Just being okay with that.
I
like
am
the amount of hair that there isn't there right.
Oh my God. Did I tell you what I did the first couple days that I was on the camera and we were editing it, and I'm like, my mouth is so small. Like, do I look like Trump? I got like a Trump mouth. I was having like this issue with my mouth, and I was like, oh God. And everyone's like, you have no, you don't.
No.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
Next. Okay. Next.
Yes.
Next.
Well, I'll tell you this. Chris, thank you so much. You were just saying a thing of gratitude. A little piece of thought of gratitude is something that I do daily. And I am very, very grateful to have had such a great, amazing friend for so many years now.
And I you.
Thank you. And all you guys out there, I really hope this inspired you to look at the next sections of your life. Do some of the,
do some work.
pieces of work that Chris was talking about. It's all within you. You can always start the first pieces, and we'll get you Chris's information in case you want to go to the workshop and just start, hammering it out. This is a perfect time to start hammering out those demons, clean out those closets,
Yes.
when this is all done, it will all be, like you want. I was like, I know right now everybody's choosing to clean their house a lot. I know because I walk my dogs in the neighborhood and I've never seen lawns this clean ever. And I'm like, what is this, Lemon Grove? Seriously right now?
It's amazing. So cleaning your physical house.
Yes.
Eventually that's going to be all done. And then we're still going to be quarantined. And you're going to be like, okay, now what? So really it's calling us to come home and stay home. This is home.
Oh, that's beautiful, Chris. It is home.
Yes, it is home. So take care of your house.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
That's what Noelle does every day.
Yeah, but mine's just
help you take care of your house.
This
help you take care of your house.
Yeah.
The meat suit.
I'm like, the heart's got to live in the hizzy,
Right? Yeah.
Yep. I did that.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all your words of wisdom. And we're going to get people your information of how they can get a hold of you if that's what they're interested in. And please join us again sometime.
Will do.
Okay.
Will do. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Be well, my dear.